Welcome to the second edition, Jaguar edition of the Balls in Our Court podcast. I'm Kevin Carter. I'm going to be hosting today, and along with me is our resident other Jaguar fan, Johnny Malone. How you doing, Johnny?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Going good. I figured we would do this today, and we would talk about what was our take on this year's draft for the Jaguars. I know last time me and you talked, it was about the free agent signings that the Jaguars brought in this year, and I figured might as well go ahead and do another one now that they brought in some more players this year via the draft. So first off, I'm going to just say, what was your take on the draft as a whole?
I give it a huge thumbs up. It's funny because we're so used to being a little disappointed by the drafts, and I know Dave Caldwell's last two drafts, especially last year, made me super amped for the season. And I shouldn't have ever doubted him. Didn't really give us a reason to yet, but I feel like he knocked this one out of the park once again.
Yeah, the first draft to me was a little there and there. The second draft,
a weak draft.
Yeah, it was a weak draft. The second draft, though, he did a phenomenal job. He eyeballed who he wanted to get, looked kind of years forward, and still picked the guys that he wanted to pick. And this year's draft, this was crazy, that the amount of talent that fell down to him later on in the draft.
Yep, it was definitely a massive success. Hopefully, it translates to wins this year, but pretty confident.
Yeah, we'll go through. Obviously, round one. Obviously, they pick with the third pick. They pick Dante Fowler Jr. out of the University of Florida. A lot of mixed emotions. I was at the draft party. There was a lot of mixed emotions because guys wanted Amari Cooper at the third pick, and everybody's like, well, how they're going to score points and blah, blah, blah. But overall, I thought this was a great pick. I may be a homer because I am a Gator fan too, but I obviously thought it was a great pick and a great fit in the defense that Gus Bradley runs here in Jacksonville.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the opposite. I'm not a Gator homer, and I was super happy about the pick because, I mean, me and you have texted back and forth in the weeks leading up to the draft, and for me it was always Leonard Williams or Dante Fowler.
Yep.
I love Amari Cooper, but I'm going to be honest with you, when I was sitting on my couch around all my friends, I was just praying that we didn't use the first pick or the third pick on Amari Cooper. No offense to him, I just didn't really want a receiver. I kind of wanted that beast defensive guy.
Yep.
And as soon as Dante Fowler's name was said, I was so relieved and so happy because I was going back and forth with him and Leonard Williams because Leonard Williams was the consensus number one pick.
Mm-hmm.
But in the hours leading up to the draft, maybe a day or two before, I just really was sold on Dante Fowler. The more I thought about it, I was really hoping the Jaguars got him. So it was funny as soon as obviously once the two quarterbacks were picked, Jaguars knew who they were going to take. But it was funny that the pick was in just immediately. They got their guy and they knew it.
The funny part was we're standing there watching it and they go to commercial. Every single year the Jaguars pick, they go to commercial. I'm like, really? I'm like, come on. And then I looked on, of course, me just being who I am, I looked on Twitter and it came out who the pick was before they even come back from commercial.
It was funny. I had a little small draft get together and I made it known to everybody. I was like, the first at least 6 or 7 picks, there's a no Twitter rule in this house. I knew that picks get spoiled no matter what NFL sent out to all the reporters. I knew it was going to get spoiled.
Yep.
So everyone agreed that we all put our phones on the table, and you were only allowed to pick it up if you had to tweet a reaction and stuff like that. But I didn't want to get spoiled at all this year because I usually end up getting spoiled at the draft, and it kind of kills my excitement. But
because
super happy.
We were standing at the draft party, and I kind of looked down. It was one of them random checks of Twitter that I did right after they went to commercial, and I kind of seen it, and I'm like, is it a joke or now I gotta wait to see to hear it? And Cortez and Crystal were there with me, and they saw my face, and they were like, "So who'd y'all draft?" I'm like, "Y'all just gotta wait." I'm like, "I'm not ruining it for anybody else. I already ruined it for myself." But I still was excited as all get out for the pick.
I think once the cell phone rule, we didn't really. I mean, towards the middle end of the first round, we just didn't care. We got filled, but I think it was right after the 5th the fifth pick, they were talking about, I believe it was Todd Gurley, and they showed Leonard Williams was sitting at the table behind him on his cell phone.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wow, the Jets are gonna pick Leonard Williams.
Yeah. And
the TV just spoiled it. So at that point, we were just like, whatever.
All right, then we'll go on to round 2, the fourth pick in the second round. They went with Alabama running back T.J. Yeldon, which, watching a lot of SEC football and watching a lot of Alabama, I really like the pick of T.J. Yeldon. Had a good year the year before when he wasn't really getting, when the other running back wasn't getting a lot of carries for Alabama. Then they started to give Derrick Henry some more carries, so that kind of lightened the load for TJ, but he still was able to do a very good job at Alabama, and I really like the pick as a guy who could come in and create competition, if not become the starter from day one as soon as he steps in for the Jags.
Oh, definitely. I actually posted that Facebook status where I asked the football gods. I was like, beat defensive guy in the first round, running back in the second. So I'm glad my wishes were filled. And I had Yeldon and Duke Johnson going back and forth as like my number 3.
Yeah.
I think it's because I work with a lot of Miami fans. So they hype up Duke Johnson a lot. So I was super, super happy when that pick came out. I definitely needed that number 1 running back. No offense to Denard, who's still going to have like an important role on the team and whatnot. And Gerhardt will still get his touches, but definitely happy about Yeldon and wonder what this means. I mean, probably Pierce is going to get cut, either him or Storm, but...
Well, they said they're keeping, they're probably going to keep 5 running backs because they're not keeping a fullback this year. They're not keeping a fullback, so they said that most likely there may be 5 running backs, especially if some of them can contribute on special teams as well. Because I know Denard, there's been huge talks of Denard going and being our kickoff returner now that Todman is gone, which I fully support that.
I fully support it too, except for like the 2 highlights he had throughout the season where he had big runs, but other than that, he didn't do anything.
Yeah, I think it was a really good move.
I'm talking about Todman, that is.
Yeah, Todman really had the one big run against Indianapolis, and he had a couple. He was consistent when he actually returned to kickoff. He would get a good 30-something yards off of it. But then now we'll go on to the. I think I lost Johnny here. Let me give him a call back real fast. That little beeping noise you hear is just me giving the phone call back over to Johnny. But I'll go on and look into the third pick of the draft. We picked up from South Carolina offensive lineman A.J. Cann, which he is a really big guard, kind of a road grader-esque type player. Likes to bulldoze. Big thing that Dave Caldwell said coming out of this is that they really like guys who come out of a pro style kind of type offense. Which, if you look at a lot of the guys that they picked up, come out of these pro style sort of kind of offensives. Like you got Alabama, South Carolina with Spurrier, Dante, even to an effect, come out of a very pro style defense, if you will, at Florida. So I really like the pick, and as soon as I get Johnny back on, I'll get his opinion real fast on this. I got Johnny back. So Johnny, what's your take on the third round pick, A.J. Cann?
Truthfully, I didn't know much about him beforehand, but as far as position-wise, I feel like it's a really good pick after looking into him. Gives Beatles some competition, and definitely a solid pick by him. A safe pick, someone who can come in and compete, and make the offensive line better.
And that's a big thing this year. I've noticed with a lot of the guys that they're bringing in. Now it's more about competition. Whereas the last couple of years, we've signed, 20 guys just during the season just to throw in there, and they've been getting playing time. But now you're starting to see depth come in as far as free agency, and now with the draft, you're starting to see more depth for the Jaguars now, which creates competition, which in the last few years we haven't had here, and we haven't had the luxury of seeing these guys actually have competition because they're just getting thrown right in.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll move on.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll move on to the round 4 pick, 104th overall, the Louisville safety James Samples, which I like what Dave Caldwell said. They said they're going to put him back there at free safety, that him and Sergio Brown compete for that spot, and then they're going to have Jonathan Cyprian and Josh Evans, who naturally is a strong safety, right along, and they've been having him play out of position in the starting lineup. But this, again, creates competition because now with him and Sergio Brown going to be able to be back there and fight for it. What did you think about the pick?
It was interesting because, like, right before the draft, I read.
Oh, you there, or did we lose you again? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, with the guy from Louisville.
Yes, James Samples. Yep.
Yeah, just one of the guys that I didn't as well know too much about before the draft, but I did read an article a few days beforehand about how people were calling him super pick and whatnot.
Yeah.
So I was somewhat familiar with him, but I agree with you that him and Sergio Brown are going to be quite the duo, and hopefully just improve that squad.
Yeah, I like what I was saying earlier. I just like that they're adding depth and adding competition to a lot of these positions that needed it. Now we'll get on to the round 5 pick, which probably was your favorite pick in the draft. 139th overall in the 5th round, nonetheless. The people were screaming for this guy in the 2nd round. They went with Florida State wide receiver Rashad Green, which I was a real big fan of this pick as well. Perfect guy to be able to come in, play the slot. One of those guys we really need to come in and do that. And he's going to be able to return punts, which, if you know anything about the Jaguars, ace centers couldn't return a punt.
Couldn't catch the ball.
Couldn't catch a ball, couldn't return a punt, couldn't even think about doing anything. So this pick was really good, especially for the value in which they got him at.
Oh, definitely. Massive Rashad Green fan. I was not watching this day.
Because I think I texted you this one.
Yeah, I told you and I told a couple others, like, if anything cool happens during the draft, text me.
Yeah.
And then I think the first one that texted me was some girl that I work with who's a big FSU fan. And then she's like, "Oh my God, you guys got Rashad." I'm like, thought she was kidding with me because I told her that I wanted him on the spot, but I didn't think he would last this long.
And then it took me texting you to make sure.
Yeah, in my eyes, like, I figured he already gotten picked and I just didn't hear about it. And then you texted me and like one or two other people texted me, and God, I was so happy. Just a guy who's just gonna make the plays. He's gonna make some big plays. I think this puts the final nail in the Justin Blackman coffin.
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. Yeah.
No, definitely what you were saying is he can go right in there as a receiver. He probably not one of the top receivers of the class, but definitely has potential and should fit right in there with the young nucleus. And I don't know, it seems like a lot of times in FSU when they needed someone to make a big play, they could look at Rashad and kind of have faith in him. So definitely excited to see him on the Jaguars, and I was definitely happy about the pick.
One of the most consistent receivers in the draft too, and that was the big part for me.
That's why a lot of people like Pearman on UCF. I liked